Alrighty, so I'm sitting in here in my sanctuary. It's kind of a mess right now. Still need several totes, bookshelves for my totes. To my right there is my three of my four main altars, and then up here in the front here is the altar that has my cauldron and crown on. But tomorrow will be the dark moon, and this is my in-home setup to get prepared if I remain in the house. And then last night I did my floating disc for when I go out tomorrow night and do my dark moon ritual. Got my dandelions, my 13 dandelions wrapped 13 times with 3 knots on my round with garlic and honey, and then my candle. So that's ready for that. Now, speaking of candles, I didn't know how I was going to start discussing this, but I guess that's a good way of doing it. I have all sorts of candles. These little birthday candles are very, very good to use because they don't burn a really long time, and when you're doing ritual and things like that, you don't, especially when I'm outside, I don't want to sit around and wait for a 7-hour candle or something like that to burn down and then leave. So I like to have the smaller candles that only last a handful of minutes, so that when my working is finished, I can leave instead of sitting there and making sure that the candle doesn't burn down the forest. Anyway, I am now working with a group of incarcerated peoples in a county adjacent to me at a local prison. I am the volunteer high priest of the pagan group there. Now, they have strict rules about what they can and can't do, what they can and can't have, and it creates unique circumstances when working with things like magic. They are not allowed to have a lot of stuff that we out here just take for granted. And one thing is candles. They're not allowed to have anything that burns. They can't have candles, smudges, sage, anything like that. Now, what they do on their own time is their own business. None of my business. But when I work with them, no candles. So I'm like, how can I? Because we can have things that represent these items, but we can't actually have the items themselves. They can't go outside. I can't take them outside in the woods for walks. We can't do any of that stuff. So we need representations of this sort of stuff to create the theatrical mindset that will cause ourselves to create this magic without using the actual materials. Now, last night I was trying to figure out what am I going to do to represent candles. Now, could I take in candles and just not light them? That's a slight possibility. I'd have to go through so much crap. It would be ridiculous to try to get an actual candle into the prison. The paperwork and permission alone would just be ridiculous. So I've come up with, and that's not even to use it, just to have it physically there. Yeah, I don't even think they would let me through the first door with a candle. But I thought about what could I do other than just to draw a candle on a piece of paper and set it down and say, oh, there's a candle. What could I do to represent a candle? So me being me, I thought of something last night. I created one of them finished, and the other I created a few more that aren't quite finished yet. So I'm going to show you what I did. So again, just a regular piece of paper, white piece of paper would be fine if you wanted to create a bunch of white candles, just a regular piece of white paper. But you know, I need color, right? So fire, water, earth. Now, right now, the white candle is going to represent air. I don't have a yellow piece of paper. Once I get a yellow piece of paper, I will create a yellow candle, as well as I need to dig out a black piece of paper, which I'm sure I've got somewhere. So I can create a black one as well. But anyway, how am I going to create this candle? I don't want it to be super small. I want it to be able to be usable. I want it to be big enough to where it's. Anyway, I decided a paper towel roll would be perfect. I'm sorry, a toilet paper roll would be perfect for the size of the candle, right? Well, instead of just trying to paint these things the different colors, what I did was I just simply took a piece of paper, rolled it up until I got the basic general size of the paper towel roll, and I just dab a little glue on one side, roll it, glue it together like such to make a cylinder, just like this. There's the red one. So it is glued at the seam, and I just make a tube, right? Now at the top, on the top, I just put around. I cut a little square, glued it on top, and then I cut around it so that it makes a open-ended little candle. This is going to be the representation of a red candle. Now, instead of putting a base on it, I left this like this. It will sit. There's no problem with it. All right, and I want the top on here for a reason, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I also wanted the bottom open because I just know, no matter what, even when I get permission to bring these in, you know, if they're sealed off on both ends, that's going to cause a problem because they're going to want to open that up and make sure there's nothing in it, right? So I just went ahead and left the bottom open completely so they could look down in there and make sure I'm not, you know, bringing in any hand grenades or nuclear weapons. So this right now is going to represent the red candle. For fire, here's water. Boom, blue candle. Right now I'm using white to represent air because I don't have the yellow. I don't have a yellow piece of paper yet. And then for earth is the green one, okay? And the green one is exactly the same, but I finished the green one. What I did was I made a little flame. Look at the little flame. I made a little flame out of red paper. So this is the flame that I'm using. Alright, I drew that. And then I have this really cool piece of red paper, which kind of had different shades kind of a red, and I thought that would work really well for fire. And when I cut it out, I poked two little holes in the top, and I inserted the paper in there and dabbed a little glue on it. So look at that. Now I've got me a little green candle. I thought, you know what the heck, this will work perfect to represent a green candle. All right. Yeah. Now the back is just plain white, but I mean, we get what we get, right? I thought about double-siding it so that both sides would be red, but last night was just kind of an experiment to see if it would even work, see if it looked okay, and I didn't want to go through trying to glue two pieces together. And anyway, I think this is sufficiently decent to represent earth or a green candle. And I even got a nice little flame. Look how awesome that flame is, right? I love that. That's so cool. So anyway, I have that. Now, let me angle you down real quick so I can kind of show you how this is going to work. So here's your basic setup. North, earth, south, fire. You have east, which is air, and west, which is water. And in the center, I just have right now just a round piece of cardstock, the same stuff I used the white candle for. And all I did was just use this little round here, this little plastic thing that makes circles. Just traced it, cut it out. And I can put a pinnacle on this, or, you know, I can do other representations if I want, but we can use it as like a centerpiece, and I can put a pinnacle on it or whatever, put the candles around it, and we can do an entire ritual with just representations of this stuff like this. Now, it's not 100% ideal, but it's creative and it'll work. So I've always said that, you know, if I need something done and I can't do it with what I've got, then I probably shouldn't be doing it in the first place. So we can't use candles, and because we can't use candles, I'll make my own out of paper, and they'll work as long as the people that's working with me allow them to work. So here is a green candle, lit and ready to go. Thank you guys for watching, and enjoyed doing this. And I'm very excited to. First, I have to email a chaplain and get his permission. Then they have to look at them to verify that it'll be allowable. They got to go through chain of command. I got to get paperwork saying I'm allowed to bring him in. It's gonna be a process, honestly. But in the end, I don't think they're gonna have any problems with this, honestly.